Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine. It's time for my video to show you all the details on how to put together my Croptoberfest borders from the CM Creative Crew playlist. Want more ideas? Join my virtual Croptoberfest. It's linked below in the description box for this video. Now let's get into this project. For my CM Creative Crew project today, I am going to be focusing on doing some borders, and these are our 3 sheets of designer paper that you will find in your Croptoberfest project recipe kit. I am going to be working with all 3 front and back for 2 sets of borders today. I have added a sheet of pumpkin cardstock just to show another complementary color that you can use with your project recipe kit. I've gone ahead and cut two 2 3/4 by 12-inch pieces from my pumpkin cardstock to use as a base for both of my borders. I also pulled out my colonial blade for my 12-inch trimmer. When using your crinkly blades with your 12-inch trimmer, I recommend loading the blade into your trimmer with the writing on the blade matching the Creative Memory. So it's going to go in this direction. The first cut I load in my paper coming from the left side. You're going to cut off about 1/4 of an inch, and then you're going to do your initial cut with your crinkle blade. And then you're going to flip your paper and cut again. So you always have to make sure to either flip the paper or flip the blade if you want to get matched sides from what you are cutting. I hope that makes sense. If not, please let me know. I will film a short for you to explain it further. The other thing I also recommend is, so for example, right now I'm cutting on my number 2 on my cutting mat, and I usually flip it back to a lane, if you will, that I've already chewed up and used for my crinkling blades. That way I get nice straight cuts with my straight blade the next time I go to cut on my trimmer. So I always put back to the current lane I'm cutting in, put my straight blade back in, and that is my quick tips for our 12-inch trimmer for these borders. Like I said, I cut 2 3/4. We are going to start with 2 different papers for our base. So I pulled a piece of the wood tone and I pulled a piece of the leaf grid. These papers have the leafy grid has the purple splotches on the back, and the wood tone has the green plaid on the back. I have cut both of these at 2 1/4 by 11 1/2, and these are going to go just straight on to our pumpkin bases here for our borders. And we're just going to center these. It's going to have about a 1/2 inch of a board, 1/4 to 1/2. How much? It's going to have a 1/4 of an inch border all the way around of the orange showing. And this one is going down here. This one is going down here. And then you can pull out your 0 centering ruler if you want to measure. We will be using our 0 centering rulers later in this video as well. And then with this one, this is the piece I used our colonial blade on. And this piece is cut at 2 inches by 11 inches. The mum paper has the yellow blossoms on the back of it. So 2 inches by 11 inches going on to our wood tone background here. And there we go. Center it as best you can again. Now, one of my borders is going to be going horizontally, this one, and one is going to be going vertically. Just bear with me. It's going to look great together when we get to that point. I need to scoot this over just a little. Okay, I've got my foam squares ready to go. Always like to make sure I stay on camera here. There we go. Okay, so one of our borders is going to go horizontally and one is going to go vertically. And I just wanted to do something a little different. So with this one, with the leaf grid, we're actually going to add, these are the ends that I cut off with the colonial blade. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of repositionable tape on this. And we're going to use this as a highlight on our leaf grid here, just to add a little extra pop to them. You're going to center this actually to the bottom of our leaf grid part, because we are going to be adding one of our border stickers to this border. And that's going to go just right across the top. There you go. And then we have our Blooming with Love and Laughter sticker. That's going to get centered with some foam squares on to this border. And then this one will be done. It's pretty quick, pretty simple. I wanted to knock out the simple ones first, and then the next one a little bit more. If you've watched any of my videos, you know sometimes I like to do some different things. And I am going to pull out my zero centering ruler for this one just to make sure I get my sticker centered here nicely on this border coming down from the top. Here we go. What do y'all think? This one is going to go horizontal on probably the top left of one of our pages. And then this one will go kind of along the right side, or you can easily even have this at the top left of your left page, and then this can even go on the left side of the right page if you want. We're going to bring in our fence that has the wreath on it. For the bottom of this one, we're going to leave just a little bit of our colonial crimping showing here because, you know, we took the time to actually do it. Let's make sure we can see it. Pop these up coming down the page, and then we're also going to have our fall vibes on the page. And essentially we're going to match up and pop out some of our flowers that are already here. So oops, I needed one smaller on my foam square for this one. Here's this. We're going to go ahead and layer this one on top of this other one. This isn't that cool how you can just bring your designer paper to life with just a simple visual here. I almost feel like that one needs to go there. Maybe. Or maybe we should have this one coming from the top. Let's have it coming from the top. Kind of like a fall leaf coming down and right out from the page here. There we go. And you know what? It's okay if you go beyond your border edge here. It's up to you where you're going to put it on your page, but really, if you put it on that left side of the right page, it's not going to matter because it's not going to interfere with anything. I do want my fall vibes kind of in the middle here, so let's see if we can find one of these to match up. And I'm just turning it to essentially match the direction it looks like on the page here. And our fall vibes is going to go flat on as well. We just want our chrysanthemums popped up. And I think I'm going to cover up this little hanging flower here so this falls in between. right here. Okay, so there you go. What do y'all think of the first set of borders using our Croptoberfest project recipe kit? I have one more set coming, so let me get to it. For my second set of borders, I did pull out our chrysanthemum punch. That is our Croptoberfest punch for this year. It's complimentary to this collection. I also did pull out my circle punch. I love this for doing, it's 1 3/4 inch circle if you don't have the circle and punch, but it just makes life so much easier to have the punch. And we are going to use the scallop blade, and I will explain what I did quickly again, showing our base here. So our base is what I used the scallop blade on, and I wanted my bumps to be going out each direction on my border base. So when I punched, I did put my blade in facing the Creative Memories on the trimmer again, put my paper in, I did cut off the little edge, and then I flipped the paper and did the same thing. This is a 2.5 inch base, and I did both of my bases for these borders with the green leaf grid paper this time. So essentially my end looks like this, showing on the back side of the paper. And then in the middle, I do have a funny little one with all the bump outs that maybe I'll use on another layout later. But for now, we just have our bases here. I also punched. So as you can see here, I have my circles ready to go. I did 3 for each border in the orange, so 6 total from our pumpkin cardstock. I did 4 total from each of the chrysanthemum paper and the green grid paper. We are going to be folding our designer paper circles, leaving about 1/4 inch radius here, because you want to show both sides of this beautiful paper. And I'm going to show you again real quick. We're going to have the mum side up on one, and we're going to have the green grid up on the other, and I'm just putting a little bit of repositionable tape to hold things in place, and then we'll stick these down with our actual regular tape runner. And when you're folding this one paper, you could see where I kind of stopped and took a second look. You kind of want to be a little bit purposeful. You want to show off at least one of your mums. And the green grid doesn't matter as much, but the mum paper is kind of one of those star papers. It's one of those really beautiful papers that Creative Memories comes out with. And we're going to bring in our zero centering ruler. The other thing I did do is I punched chrysanthemums from all of our papers. So I took 3 each from 3 of the designer papers. Let me show you real quick. So 3 here from our base paper, 3 from our green grid with the wood tone on the back, and 3 from the yellow mum that has our hero chrysanthemum paper on the front. And that way you can mix and match and actually create really pretty chrysanthemums. I also did pop them up with foam squares, each layer. So I took one of our small ones for this middle layer, and then I cut some of our smallest foam squares on a diagonal to pop up that very little piece here. Let me grab my tape runner here. I'm going to flip these. And I guess it really doesn't matter to flip the cardstock. You really don't need to. And let me flip this one. Okay, let's put this border together. We are going to center our green or orange, I'm sorry, our pumpkin circle here through the middle. And then our other one is going to line up right at the 2-inch mark on each side of our zero. And you want to kind of have a visual center going through the page as well. But that's one where you're just going to have to eyeball it, or you can pull out a second ruler if you want. I'm not that crazy about it, I guess. So I'm going to give this about a 1/2 inch from the edge here, and my ruler does have the markings for it. I'm not sure I'm actually on it because that bottom edge isn't as precise as the top. We are going to have our line that we created with our circle across the top and across the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and flip this just to make sure that I was close with that. Yep, right at the 1/2 inch. Sometimes it works out. And then these two are going to go in here, go in the opposite direction. Actually, I did something wrong. This needs to go up. It needs to be at the 4, doesn't it? Okay, so take this off. So this needs to be at the 4, not at the 2. Okay. Well, this is what I get for not writing it down. Here we go. So our circles, our orange pumpkin circles need to be at the 4, not at the 2. So that way we have space to fit in our other half circles. And these are going to be facing out. And you're going to have about a 1/4 inch on either side of these, with the line going towards the middle. So it's almost like half moons kind of, but it just gives a really kind of fun visual effect going through our border here. I just thought this was really fun. Flip over our chrysanthemums, and we can pop this up one more, but I feel like that's going to be too much for our page. So we're going to go ahead and just put a little bit of repositionable on the bottom of this one here. It's not easy. So let's see if I can come up with a solution for the other side. I think what we're going to do is stick down that bottom first to our orange circle. Make sure I've got these in the correct order, because I am very conscious of color when I design things. And I did have a pattern I used with both sides of my borders here. So I'm going to wait to do the stickers until the end, because I'm not sure how it's going to work out for me, if I'm going to use them or not. I do have some pumpkins. We'll see if I use them, but that's the first border. Let's get the second one put together. All right, for our second border here, I did go ahead and cut it again at the 2.5 inch mark with the scallop blade. I went ahead and stuck down my chrysanthemum base with the repositionable tape. I feel like that just made it a little bit easier. I have gone ahead and popped up my other two parts again, and just putting it on just felt a little bit easier that way. And you can see I actually wound up with a really nice chrysanthemum to highlight in the center of this one bud here. Let me flip everything over, add some repositionable tape, or add some tape runner. Okay, and let's get everything stuck down now. We're going to start in the center with our pumpkin chrysanthemum here. Make sure you get it kind of through the center of your border. And these two are going to be Well, let's get our circles first because we know now we need it at the 4, not at the 2. And let's get our spacing done. I'm just going to lightly put it just in case. Don't want to have to move things around again if I can help it. These two are going to be facing out again, and about 1/4 of an inch in between those, with the straight edge facing our center mom here, and then about a half inch from the top and bottom. Let's go ahead and measure that one. Here we go. And flip my ruler so I can get the top as well. There we go. So this now is our second border. I want to make sure everything's pressed down now, and we have this really cute petals and pumpkins that I think is going to work out really nicely in the top here. And then we have a small pumpkin that we can place in the bottom, and I think I am going to go ahead and start adding pumpkins because it goes really nicely with petal and pumpkin, fits our theme. We have a lot of the chrysanthemums, and let's add a couple of pumpkins. It's nice to have a little saying. You could leave your borders plain if you wanted. These do match. You can use them whichever direction you want on your pages. You can turn them if you want. But I think I am going to go ahead and figure that I'll be using them vertically on my page. There's petals and pumpkins coming in. I'm going to place this right out at a 1/4 inch as well. Look at how nicely that worked out for me. We're going to pop up this little pumpkin as well. So these have a lot popped up going on them. But I think it's going to work out for us. There we go. So left or the right one is done, I guess. I don't know. I probably would put this on my left side of my page just because of the writing, but you can go however you want. And then we do have 2 more pumpkins here. We're going to go ahead and so we have several pumpkins from our sticker sheet, and there's a couple. This one has a longer stem, but it's brown, and this one has the stubby stem that's brown also. This one has more of a green stem to it that I think just fits this border better, especially since we're going to be using the small green pumpkin in the bottom. I used the small yellow pumpkin. Actually, I think I am going to switch these two because I think the yellow pumpkin should be here with this green. So we're just going to go ahead and do it real quick here. Put this one on the top. And sometimes it's just the way it goes. I think we aren't even going to angle this. We're going to keep it straight up because the pumpkin stem already angles. I'm going to pull up this one scooched over here because we have this green and yellow here. We have the green here, and I think because we have the purple here, it's going to fit better with the green, and then it also helps to repeat our yellow that's in our writing on our pumpkin and petal at the top there. So, I always have to be a little bit cohesive with the colors. Think about where you're putting things. And there we go. Now we've got this little green one, the little yellow one. All right, all done. What do y'all think? You can see I definitely was very conscious about colors within the chrysanthemums themselves that I punched. And I'm going to go ahead and mention, please check out the CM Creative Crew playlist. I am so excited to be hosting this. It's the first time, and this should be a monthly collaboration. So I hope you will come back and continue to see what we're going to be featuring and doing videos on each month. When you go to check out the playlist, please subscribe to my fellow advisors' channels, like their videos, and leave them a comment and let them know what you think of their projects as well. I appreciate you stopping by to take a look at what I have done with the Croptoberfest 2025 project recipe kit. I hope this is giving you an idea of something else you can do with your projects. I will see you all next time.